Hey everyone, good afternoon. My name is Matt Rosendin, and I'm joined today with Javier Romero. We are both former Ripple software engineers, and we're now working at Link2 on some new exciting initiatives. We're building private markets on the XRP ledger. Now, I just want to give a bit of background about Link2 and what are private markets, to give you some context. So Link2 is making the private equity asset class accessible, affordable, and liquid. Private equity has been one of the fastest growing asset classes for the past several decades. And traditionally, if you wanted to invest in this asset class, you had to first build a relationship with the company that you want to invest in, which could take weeks, if not months, in order to actually purchase the stock, like get on their cap table, purchasing the stock from existing shareholders, that is. And then the check size for these sort of investments will range around 250 grand on average. But Link2 is disrupting this market. We're lowering the barrier to entry by allowing investors to invest in this asset class with minimums around $10,000 and sometimes even less. And we have a very simple application where it's just point, click, invest. And it's very simple, seamless for individual investors to be able to start investing in this sort of asset class. So I just want to show you a bit about Link2 from the website. There's a mobile app. There's all sorts of companies you can invest in. Ripple Labs is one of them. You can see here just, we have quite a few, mostly in the fintech space, but some in AI and different verticals as well. And we have some companies that have already exited on the platform. So Coinbase is one of those, Robinhood, Marqeta, et cetera. And we have a relationship with Ripple Labs. That's one of the reasons why we're here today, and one of the reasons why we're building on the XRP ledger. So it's one of our top assets on our platform is Ripple Labs. And so Link2 now has an X team, which is composed of Javi and myself. And we are building a alternative trading system on the XRP ledger DEX. And the reason why we're doing this is to make these assets more liquid. So we're creating more accessibility, affordability, and now we're creating more liquidity for this asset class, allowing users not to just buy, but also to sell the assets as well. And so obviously liquidity is great. You may have life events come up where you may need to sell, and there's other users on the platform who will want to buy from you because there's limited availability of the investment products on our platform. So the main challenge with tokenizing private equity on the XRP ledger is not even technical. It's mostly operational. So we need to first secure the licenses to do this, to build this alternative trading system. We need to register with FINRA and then with the SEC as well for a broker-dealer license. And we have developed a pipeline of high-quality companies that we bring into our platform with a team who analyzes the investments and then sources these companies, and we put it on our platform for users to buy. Link2 is a principal investor in all of the companies that have been on our platform. We've done over $120 million in transaction volume. And so yeah, that's a bit about Link2. And we're going to be talking to you about the ATS that we're building and a bit more. Real quick, I also just wanted to mention that we're forming some partnerships in the industry to kind of make this vision a reality. So we're working with fintech companies like Modern Treasury, Polysign, Uphold, and then of course you see Uphold and Ripple on the platform. So it's kind of about forming a common vision and then bringing it to life. We foresee a new era for financial markets coming about. So that's link 2. I'm going to pass it off to Javi so he can do a demo of what we've been building on the ledger. And then just keep in mind that this is highly experimental, still a work in progress, but we thought it would be a good time to just share this work that we're doing that's on the ledger. So Javi, why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Matt. I'm Javier Romero. I'm a staff software engineer at Link2. Matt has given you a very good overview of what Link2 is doing, how the platform works. But I want to show you something we've been working on over the past few weeks and that we are very excited about. And this is Link2's ATS platform. If you see this screen, it looks similar to the one that Matt was showing you. The difference here is we are using the XRP ledger. We pull in that data from the XRP ledger. So we have tokenized the private equity, and we show in the best price in the screen. The problem we had is, as Matt said, buying private equity is not easy. It takes weeks, if not months. It's not an open, transparent process. That's why we think that features from the XRP ledger can help us solve those problems with the help of the DEX, authorized trust lines, and other features from the XRP ledger. If we go to the assets screen, we're going to see 2 types of assets. We're going to see currencies, which are tokenized fiat currencies at the moment, but in the future we can tokenize other types of currencies or crypto. Here we have some balance, but if we wanted to top up our wallet with more dollars, we could do that through the deposit feature, and with the help of partners like Modern Treasury or Plaid, we can link our bank account within a few seconds, and we can pull some money directly from the account to our wallet. The other type of asset that we have here is actually the private equity units. So we can see here we will have like some Ripple Labs linked to. This is just a basic demo, but in the future we're going to have a lot more shares. So let's go and try and buy some. So before we do that, let's see that we have just 145 linked to units. We're going to buy some more. So we go to the asset detail. We're going to see the price history. We're going to see the price of that private equity unit. We can see that that token is issued by Link2, and we're going to try and buy some more.
And just to clarify any confusion, we have randomized chart data since this is all still in beta and highly experimental, just not to confuse anyone.
So what we're going to do here is to post a buy offer on Ledger, and hopefully that will be consuming some of the sell offers that we already have in the platform. So let's buy 10 units. When I click confirm, that's going to send the transaction to the ledger, and it should confirm in a few seconds. Maybe more. So transaction went well. Here we just bought some more shares, but if we wanted to sell some, we can do that as well in a similar way. If we go back to the assets screen, we will see we actually should see. Oh yeah. Oh sorry. I thought we bought Link2. We can see that we bought some units, and they are reflected in our balance. So as Matt said, this is a very basic approach, but we have a lot of things coming in the roadmap, and I think Matt is going to talk a little bit about that.
Yep. So thanks, Javi. Now, you have a little bit of an idea of what we're building now, and I'd like to paint a vision of where we're going to go with this and kind of how we're thinking about our blockchain strategy. And I think one of the main things is that we want to embrace decentralization, and we want to be able to operate under the regulatory guidelines wherever we're doing business. That's why Link 2 has been so successful. It's because we have this like operational infrastructure operating with clear guidelines. And it's why companies like Securitize, who have gone straight to the security token model, haven't been able to get so much traction because there's really not that regulatory clarity yet. So that's something that we're really proud of. Now, what we just demoed is a wallet that's it's non-custodial. So this is one of the things that we're thinking about bringing to market is for users on our platform, they can have this non-custodial wallet. The main Link 2 app is a custodial wallet, but the great thing about a non-custodial wallet on the XRP ledger is that it's portable. You can move the keys into another app, like Sum, for example, or some other wallet interface, and then you can still manage your assets in whatever interface you want to bring it to. And then we're also looking at an application-specific sidechain that is using the EVM with XRP as the native asset. And I'm actually going to do a little demo of an application that I've been building for the past year and a half or so, which is going to potentially fit into this roadmap as well. And then along with that, we're looking and interested in ways how we can integrate XRP into our operational workflows, allow investors to potentially use it. We don't know exactly how that'll work yet, but I do see this as a potential longer-term approach that we want to take. And then lastly, we're interested also in the AMM proposal that Anshul and David Schwartz have been working on in order to increase the liquidity in this asset class, because with a central limit order book, it is, you've got to have enough liquidity on there. With the AMM, it could potentially be easier, but there's things to explore. So now having said that, going back to what I mentioned about an app-specific EVM sidechain, I'm going to go ahead and go over to this application here. Now, this is just like a developer preview sort of demo of an application which we don't necessarily know when or if at all we're going to be launching, but I think it's pretty cool because we do private equity. This is the other half of the equation, which is private credit. Private credit is one of the fastest, I think the fastest growing alternative asset class now. So it's kind of like superseded private equity in that role. So let's go ahead and run through this. This application is meant to provide a credit facility to borrowers, and then investors can also come in into this interface and invest in these borrowers. So you can see I'm on my profile screen. I've got an authorized address that I can use within this application. So that allows me to go ahead and go over here, invest. So I can subscribe to this credit fund, invest some money. I could invest $1,000. Now, I've already invested in this, so you can see over here, here's my investment. It's $500,000. It has a 2% APY, so this is accruing in real time with compound interest. You can see that my original investment was $500,000. I think I put it in there yesterday. It's earned $16 or over $16. So this is like a real-time interest accruing investment vehicle. And there's also an algorithm based on how that APY works, which I'll get to in a bit. So the idea is that you can invest in there, And then you can see the total amount of funds that are available for borrowers to use. So 500,000. If I go over to the Borrow tab, if I'm a borrower, which I've already taken out a loan, so you can see I have an outstanding debt balance of this amount. And borrowers using this system have to put down collateral. That's actually, so we don't have to underwrite anything. I mean, if we really wanted to underwrite these loans, I guess we could, but it makes it easy just to enable people to put down some collateral. So we have XRP as collateral here. And it's, you can see, we have the pricing data coming in through a data oracle, and we have the collateral ratio, which is, it's well secured. And then this is the APR that's being paid on this loan. And this is just the interface for borrowing. And if we go back to the system here, you saw there's a total supply, and then we also have the amount of outstanding debt, and then the supply minus the amount borrowed is what we have here, the loanable funds. So this is what's still available. And there's a utilization ratio of, it's just under 50%. So the way that the algorithm works is the more you draw on the credit facility, the less liquidity there is available, less funds available to be borrowed. So the idea of the opportunity cost of money, which is the interest rate, comes into play. And the way that it works is the more you draw on the credit, the less funds that are available, the higher the interest rate will go. That's going to incentivize investors to put money into the fund because they'll get a higher rate of return. And then it'll incentivize borrowers to pay down their debt if they want to, not have to pay these higher rates. And then the cap on the interest rate is something that can vary jurisdictionally. So I think in California it's like 10%, and then other states or other countries, they have different caps. So we can set a cap on that. There's all sorts of settings for whoever's administrating the system. So there is like an administrator who can set these settings. The administrator can be like a centralized company. It could potentially be a DAO. So that was the original design behind this is, we wanted to create a DAO, but that's, not really in the cards right now, but it could potentially be just a DAO governance address that owns this, and meaning that it could be all sorts of people involved in the actual administration of the system. And then you can repay your loans. You can repay the full amount or just an amount you specify and unlock that collateral. And then similarly, as an investor, you can redeem whatever you've put into the system. So it's actually like liquid in the sense that if there are funds that are not being lent out, you can just take it out of the system. So it's like pretty liquid. If there's no loanable funds available, well then you have to keep your capital committed because it's being borrowed. So you'll have to wait until borrowers pay back the debt in order to take it out. But that actually, we have like gating mechanisms and whatnot, which are also fit into regulations put forth by the SEC. So we think this is something that, we'd be able to launch eventually. There's a couple of other cool features that I will just like mention super quickly. We had this network transfer feature because this runs on a EVM sidechain. This is how you would move it from the sidechain to the mainnet if you want to move these US dollar tokens to the mainnet or vice versa. And then you'd be able to redeem, Link2 would, or whoever's using this system would be able to issue and redeem US dollar tokens as well to investors who are putting those funds into the system, and then whoever's borrowing through the system can redeem the US dollar tokens for actual currency that they can use to expand their business or whatever they're using this loan for. And we have like a transaction history page, so you can click the link, go to the block explorer, get a bit more details with the block of the transaction. and then just like, contract addresses and whatnot. So yeah, that's Probity, and that's it for our demo. So just to recap, we're with Link2. Link2 is a private investing made simple. We have a mobile app. You can also sign up on the website and use the web app there. And then we're specifically working on the XRP Ledger initiatives for the exchange to provide more liquidity to our users. And then this part right here is just something for the future that we may or may not eventually launch, but it will be open sourced at some point. So I thought it's worth sharing. That's it. So we want to thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. We're around to answer questions. We have a bit more time if there are questions. So yeah, please feel free to ask anything you want.
So is the Probity, this looks like it's kind of being designed for institutional level and like, transactions. Is that kind of the market that you're going after?
It's not really determined. I mean, originally, that was one of my goals. I think with Link2 and how we want to leverage it, there's different ways. So like we could potentially provide margin loans to users on Link2, and so that they could potentially leverage certain assets, maybe even XRP, to borrow, and then they can use that for investing on the platform. Or it could be actually finding, as you're mentioning, like institutional borrowers, investment grade, give them this credit facility, and then investors on Link2 can put capital into the fund and earn some fixed income yield. So there's a couple of different directions we could go, but yeah, that's certainly possible.
What are you doing with fee and the stablecoin?
All right, yeah. So I had been working on stablecoins, and this actually was the system that would provide decentralized stablecoins. To be honest, didn't see a regulatory path forward in the US, and maybe it would be possible outside of the US, but the truth is that it's a business model that requires infrastructure and all sorts of things to happen, and just the regulatory climate makes it a bit difficult, but I'd still hope to see I'd like to see something in the market like Fee or Ore, but I don't know if we'll be able to do that. Yeah.
So how are you guys different from maybe, or what are you solving that maybe guys like Carta or others with management tools offer today?
So Carta is like a equity management, cap table management solution. They have like an exchange. So are you talking about their exchange?
Yeah, as in I want to buy shares in the
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. For Carta, you're limited to whoever's using Carta, I suppose, for their cap table solution. And they have like the secondary market exchange. We're also building a secondary market exchange, as you can see here, but we can source these companies. We're not limited to what companies we can source. I think Carta is limited to what's on their platform. And I don't know too much about Carta's exchange, but I mean, we are different in the sense that we're also working with different partners and brokers, NASDAQ private markets and just other brokers to source these companies as well. And so I guess we probably will be able to provide a bit more variety. And but the short answer is, I'm not too familiar with what Carta's doing. And but yeah, thanks for the question. All right, no other questions? Okay, thank you.